What's up, everybody? I'm James. Welcome to Mechanical Mayhem, and welcome to the MechWarrior 5 Clans Flashstorm DLC story-driven campaign playthrough. This is where we will be checking out all the cutscenes, listening to the banter, and I'll be going over things pertaining to what's going on, the greater scheme of the Battletech lore, and all stuff in between for this really fun DLC campaign. We are one of the Silverroot Keshik, and I'll be doing this campaign with custom builds on expert difficulty. So, with that in mind, strap yourselves in and prepare for drop.
Star Captain Lilith, we have Ghost Bears pinned down by the second in a hydrochasm on the ground right here.
How did the second get the better of them?
I had Star Colonel Hunsig send in a sweep trinary to probe the area for the exact location of a dam, and to scout for more surprises after your encounter with the Iron Talon back at the factory.
And they found it.
And more. Their trinary was lured by the false retreat of a lance, pretending to commit seppuku. They then used hidden artillery in the cliff faces and other hidden forces to pin them down. They've been engaged with them for the past few hours, and only got the message out before this meeting.
Free births. They must be running low on ammo. Are we to mount a rescue operation?
And more. You will lead Bravo, Charlie, and your aerospace star on this approach point here. You must try and free the bears if you can. And then find that dam and knock it out.
Why is the dam so important?
Gustav?
I have an operative working inside the Silverdale spaceport. He has sent word that they are preparing a series of dropships for system departure.
And that lines up with the movement pattern of the second. They are falling back to the city, but there's no way for you to reach the spaceport in time.
The dam feeds power to Silverdale and the spaceport. Disable the dam and...
I get the idea. The second lose their way out.
And you can finish them off.
You are not joining us, Sakan?
Neg, I have faith you can get the job done here in my stead.
I am honored.
Once we break, I'm taking Star Colonel Hunsig and his 50th Striker to the Ptolemy Mountains. The 6th Alshane regulars have been giving them more trouble in recent days. I will go there to oversee operations. Keep me updated as things happen, Star Captain. Communication is a nightmare here, but it is important to ensure the DCMS do not get the upper hand on us.
I will not let you down, Sakan.
Well, we have arrived to the penultimate mission, and we have 3 Kodiaks now because I sold a bunch of stuff I didn't need and purchased 2 more Kodiak chassis and customized them both.
We are closing in on
This is a fun mission. It's a bit of a long one, especially considering Kodiaks aren't known for their speed. What's interesting is, Ghost Bear is known for patience and also for being kind of more of a family-oriented clan than other clans. Even so, you call it a bit of tough love because the survival of the 3rd Bear Guards is not absolutely paramount. It's a secondary objective. We want to rally with them, we want to preserve them, we want their assets to assist our star in the process, but if it, worst case scenario, didn't happen that way, you'd still be able to progress with the mission. It'd just be a little bit harder in certain cases. Potentially, right? Either way, we are definitely going to look to preserve them, so that's what I'm going to be doing. When I first did this mission and I started advancing, I was really concerned we would have to fight a dropship right off the bat, which is not something I want to do, but luckily we don't have to. So we already have enemies coming in on us, as we can see fire coming from my star as they are attacking the enemy. I had them do a move order to move to a location and guard it. That way they don't wander around the battlefield and they can just bring the firepower to bear. They won't wander in front of my shots. They won't maneuver themselves to block their own line of sight or anything crazy like that. And we can just hammer the enemy into submission. We have a countdown timer. I believe we basically had it start at 5 minutes or something like that. We have really less than that. I think you have like 3.5 minutes really to truly gun down everything and make speed, all speed to your Bear Guards to assist them. And that, while it is not a lot of time, is also a decent amount of time when you consider custom builds and what you can do. We have a lot of firepower here. We're able to absolutely cut through mechs. The big important thing is to leave nothing standing. We can't progress until everything has been put to the ground. So if you need to, and I'll be doing this, if you need to, just tell them to attack. Let them maneuver and attack if they have to, because you want to drop things ASAP. We don't want them to just linger around because they're not quite in range or whatever the case is. Definitely important to knock things out. As far as my star goes, the 2 Warhawks are quad ER PPCs with extra armor and elite sinks. My Kodiak is the same for the last mission: 4 ER large lasers, 4 ER medium lasers. Rick Becker's Kodiak is Gauss rifle and 2 ER PPCs to kind of keep him in the back firing instead of advancing, because typically your star won't advance further than they have to engage all their weapons, typically. And then the other Kodiak is a Gauss rifle and like 9 or 10, I think, ER medium lasers, because why not? I just saw it fire there. It's going to provide good burst damage on top of the Gauss rifle for extra long range punch. So we had a Marauder, we took down a Highlander, we took down medium mechs, some other heavy mechs. We have Centurion coming in. Pretty good tonnage arrayed against us, and at this point it's just we gotta burn it down. We're lacking time to really take these pot shots. So I have my star focusing on the Marauder, hopefully, while I finish off the Centurion. And as you can see, that Marauder is starting to take damage, and he's still shooting at me because why not? But that's okay, because my star is absolutely hammering into it. Once we do that, we can maneuver. Now, we have enough time to make it, for sure. But I take an awful path. I don't know why I went this path, but I did. And I don't know if it's this path is the reason for my star eventually lingering behind, but it looks like they kind of repositioned themselves to walk around something, to walk around this dropship as opposed to going the way I went. I don't know if they can't see this as a route to go or not. I have no idea. But you're going to notice we're walking, and eventually a gap's going to form with my star, and then they're going to just seemingly not follow me anymore. And they are. They're just taking, I assume, the long way around the dropship. If I went up the center as opposed to the side, I think they would have followed better. But I feel like they lag behind you here for a little bit regardless, and I'm not quite sure why. But you can see the distance opening up, but I don't have time to wait for them, so we're just going to book it. And it does look like they are maneuvering around that terrain feature for whatever reason. But it's okay, we're going to make it. Now, Rick Becker is going to want to talk on a private channel right now, and this is, of course, because of his neural implants. He's basically admitting he got a problem, and he should probably just go out in a blaze of glory, but we need him. So, sorry, Mr. Becker, you have to deal with it and bring your talents to bear for as long as possible. Now, if you're looking at like what I'm doing, I'm targeting things, but nothing's happening, right? They're not moving, our allies aren't moving, because we haven't triggered a trigger point yet. We just did. Now things are fighting each other. I actually really like this. This could be a point of contention for some of the player base, some fans, but one of the things that can be annoying, and I've noticed this in older games, maybe the AI is a little bit better, but what I've noticed in older games is either one of two things tend to happen. Either your forces get slaughtered or the enemy forces get slaughtered. You're supposed to link up and save the day. AI can just absolutely trounce itself in that situation, and before you make it, they can either save themselves or have been wiped out. So the fact that it has a trigger to make it start fighting each other and have you come in to save the day, I prefer a lot more, to be honest with you. So that's exactly what we're doing. While I'm overheating, you'll notice my star on sensors is eventually making it here for whatever pathway they took, I'm not sure. Which is good because I'm sick and tired of overheating myself. I do melee the catapult because sometimes you gotta punch a catapult. You know how it is, right? It's just one of those things. But we are in the process of gunning down the industrial mechs, which isn't really that hard to do, which is good because we want to have as many of 3rd Bear Guard's forces alive as plausible for the rest of this mission, because they will linger and assist us the entire way should they survive, which is why I made it really of high importance to go and get here and not let the timer be 0. And I think we did pretty good, all things considered. We're on the second highest difficulty of expert. I'll bring up why I'm not Trueborn one more time here. I'm not going to bring it up on the last mission, though. And that is because I've done Trueborn missions, particularly in the Smoke Jaguar campaign, and unless they change how it just feels like artificial flavoring or artificial spice or artificial smoke in food, right? Like, yeah, it's harder, but it's not harder in a way that is intriguing to, in my opinion, watch, really. It's just a case of how many times is it going to take for the damage to actually do damage, not just get absorbed or reduced, and knock out the mech. So you end up making some really weird builds, kind of like what I'm doing now, but I don't know, it just feels a bit weird, Trueborn, in my opinion. I appreciate having that extra difficulty for the fun of it, but not for a full campaign playthrough series like this. So we're on Expert, which is, I still think, showcases the capability of the enemy, as well as the capability of custom builds and certain mech chassis. So we're here now, and I was getting hung up on one of my allies as one of the annoying features about the AI. You know, AI does what AI does, but we're burning through the enemy, right? We have plenty of things going down. The Centurion's going down. We took down a Wolverine. We're really looking to destroy the enemy mechs here. Unfortunately, we are going to get basically spawned on. There's going to be an enemy dropship coming. It's going to land basically right in our grill. This is because I first maneuvered here to see about the water, because this is one of the easiest or earliest places once you get to this location to get in some water. And you'll notice the water isn't doing anything for extra cooling. So I'm like, okay, it's time to redeploy because I do know the second dropship's coming in. What I forgot about is that it drops right where we're at. So you'll notice on sensors, all of a sudden, it lights up in red. And I'm like, well, that's problematic. So let's just lean into that wind and just target things for extermination as overkill as possible. Definitely took a lot more damage on my star than I needed to at this point in time because we literally got dropped on. We got dropped on because I was trying to see if the water would cool us. I do remember it not cooling us in my prior playthrough of this campaign. I actually couldn't remember if it was here or downstream, literally, but it's here. And, well, the star paid the price a little bit by taking some extra damage with being so close. On top of that, they drop right by the quarter, so if you do get a bit aggressive, you can see what happened to me. I was registered as out of bounds. You have plenty of time to fix that. But no harm, no foul. We do take out that lance in relatively short order, all things considered, but Jonathan did take quite a beating. Luckily, he didn't have to eject, so he'll be one of the mechs repairing. We do have 3 repair bays here, which is quite nice. So I'm going to repair Jonathan, and I'm going to repair Tara, and I'm going to repair Samuel. Well, not Samuel, myself. I don't know why I said Samuel. Samuel's later. We have even more repair bays because, spoiler, we get even more repair bays. So that's fine. There's a lot to do in these missions, or this particular mission, I should say, in these objectives. So we're getting as patched up together as we can because we need to now go to that dam and take out those damn towers. Literally, that's what they're called, damn towers. This is how we sever power to the spaceport. We're not collapsing the dam like I thought we might originally be doing. Instead, we're just destroying the stuff that actually generates power for that spaceport. So, that makes it a bit easier for maneuvering because when I first played through this and I thought the dam was going to burst, I would maneuver my star in such a way to keep him on the higher ground always, which was detrimental at the very end of the canyon. But now knowing that it doesn't burst, I don't worry about that. Still, we just did it. It was really easy to take out those damn towers. There's 4 of them. And that's the objective, really, for taking out power towards the spaceport. Now, this is a really interesting Sokol because you're noticing drones. This Sokol doesn't necessarily fight us specifically. Instead, it drops a whole bunch of drones. And these drones are like the sensor drones you see in MechWarrior Online, only they have like either a small laser or a flamer on them, and it drops a decent amount of them pretty quickly. So you really want to focus on taking them down ASAP. But we also have some mech assets in the field, so I just tend to have, once the mechs show up, I have my star focus on the mechs and I focus on the Sokol, because I feel like they can be a little bit janky in shooting at air targets at times. So let them blow up the mech and then take out the Sokol like it did just there. So then we finish up with the Marauder here, and then the drones. Now these drones aren't necessarily going to carve up your mechs like a Thanksgiving dinner, but small lasers and flamers are just going to be annoying, especially while fighting the Marauder and the other assets in the area. So we quickly take these things out, and then we can move on with our journey. So we have to reach Silverdale and secure it after dealing with the power generation here at the dam. That's exactly what we're going to do. Now, my first playthrough of this mission, I basically follow the way the 3rd Bear Guards go. I'm doing that a little bit different here, where I'm going to be on the opposite side of this little canyon area, but we have the range in our equipment to assist the 3rd Bear Guards in taking things down in their path. I just wanted to do it a bit different, and I like that there's multiple pathways to get to the same objective. It's just that one way might make it a bit hard to support the 3rd Bear Guards, and the other way might make it a bit hard to maneuver because they're there too. So pick your poison, I suppose. Now, while we take out these LRM carriers and these mechs and what have you and make our way down, I do want to kind of give the 3rd Bear Guards some credit, and as well as things like that, like the Jaguar Regulars and 3rd Bear Guards, and other style of forces that typically are given the short end of the stick. And that is to say that, yeah, they needed to be rescued, or they get wiped out, or they take heavy damage, but it's not out of ineptitude. What we're seeing is very weird power towers there. But anyways, what we're seeing is typically they're being ambushed, or intel was incorrect because the inner sphere hides true numbers, and they get hit by a much larger force. But the 3rd Bear Guards in this case, and the regulars in other cases, and whatever else, they still are very good forces. We're talking about clan warriors after all. They are highly trained. Even if they are second line units using standard battle mechs, they still have clan technology. So, I just wanted to kind of give them, I guess, a shout out, because in a lot of instances, these kind of more generic, regular sounding units like the regulars or the Bear Guards or what have you, kind of get the short end of the stick by constantly needing to be reinforced or rescued or avenged or something. And that's not always the case in the lore. I mean, yeah, they're taking damage, but it's more so of a video game trope, which I don't dislike, because it showcases how elite your star is, or how far you've come from the beginning of a campaign to that point. But it's just something that I do feel like is a little bit unfortunate for those guys. That's neither here nor there, though, because we're the Silver Keshik, we're more elite than them, and we get to prove it. So here we are. There is stuff to scan, and one of the things, I brought up repair bays, and we do have more coming, including this one here that I forgot about in my first playthrough, but I make use of it here. And that is ammo crates to scan, ammo resupply. I feel like, just like the repair bays, they're a lot more numerous and a lot more generous in terms of the amount of ammunition they give to you when you scan them in the Flash Drone DLC. And it's not a complaint, just an observation. Every time I paid attention to it, it always seems to be 100% ammo restored, so all of your ammo restored, which is great. In the Smoke Jaguar campaign, it's sometimes like 40% or 50% or things of that nature. And I feel like perhaps one of the feedbacks they've gotten, maybe this is why it's like it is people saying, it's a video game, and I get, having the ammo resupply not always be a full-on restock, but if you're going to give me the ability to do custom builds, and if I want to do an ammo-dominated build, I shouldn't be punished for it in missions that either have no ammo resupply crates, which there are a couple in Smoke Jaguar's campaign, or where the crate doesn't give me enough ammo. That's my best guess as to why it's like that now, and I approve this message. So if that's the why, then I approve that for sure. Just one of the things I noticed in this playthrough, and I've been really only talking about the repair base, which is also nice to see because I like not being crippled all the time or at the end of a mission, so that's cool too. So I told Rick Becker to go repair his Kodiak because he's the most hurt in that one repair bay. It will mean he's gonna have to play some catch up with the star, but that's okay. I'd rather have him get repaired and show up to the battle and be pristine than say, oh, we don't have the time to do that. Especially considering outside of that one random third bear guard, they typically wait for you to advance. So we got a spunky fella right there. But outside of that, they typically wait for you. In any case, now that we're past the dam, the water does give you enhanced cooling of your heat sinks, as you can tell by the snowflake icon next to the temperature gauge in your heads-up display. Which is good because we're going to be utilizing our lasers and whatnot a whole lot, so glad to see it. Now, we have a Jenner, and then we have a bunch of assault mechs, and in true me fashion, I'm going to ignore the bigger mechs, you know, for a little bit to focus on the Jenner, because I don't know why, I just like taking out the smaller mechs first if I can, especially when they start getting into your grill, like they are here. They're getting all up in the battle line, so let's take them out. But that does mean that I focus entirely too much on taking it out, which means that things like this Rifleman and this Battlemaster and others can do more damage, including this King Crab. And once I realized this King Crab, I was like, oh, this isn't good. Double AC-20 is nothing to sneeze at, even if I feel like the AC-20s could do more damage. So, my leg's been blown through an armor, and I took some leg and structural damage, as just tends to happen every time I fight, it seems like, in this mission. But I decided to Alpha Strike the King Crab's arms off. It still has an ER large laser and an LRM-15, but I don't have to worry about the autocannon 20s, and that's enough for me. Now, my star is, you know, lingering a little further back than I'd like, but they have the range firepower where it won't really matter, and they are definitely breaking it to bear, so we are finishing off the King Crab, and rightfully so, because we need to move on. And after taking out the King Crab and seeing that cool water effect on the rocks there, we have repair bays. We have 5. And one of the benefits of Rick Becker having already repaired there and not being part of that firefight really is that he is pristine, so I do have a extra repair bay should I need it. Obviously, it'll be far away from where the fighting is going to be for the rest of this mission, but it's there if things really got dicey. I could just send either myself or more than likely one of my star mates all the way over here, so they're at least out of the fray, maybe even get repaired before the mission ends. But I don't have to do that for this mission this time, but it's nice to have that option and not have to use all 5 just to progress onwards.
Systems offline.
So you basically make it to Silverdale. The 3rd bear guards are with us. All that's left is to get hit by these turrets I didn't realize were there before I repaired, so you know, there's that to deal with. On top of dealing with that, there's stuff in the way, including some really feisty terrain pieces blowing up. And I get hit with some missiles. Whatever, not at the end of the day. I'm just surprised at how much damage these turrets are taking. I think it's because I'm hitting stuff in front of them before hitting them properly. Anyways, I'm just waiting for my star to repair. Once they're fully repaired, we're going to mosey on forward and we're going to take this area. This is a cool little shipping area, right, with storage containers and ships and massive rigs. It looks really cool. There's a random building, probably like an overseer building or something like that there. And we're just going to blow everything up we have to. I'm all about keeping infrastructure intact, but if it's in the way from me securing victory in this region, I'm going to waltz through it or shoot it. Especially because they're done playing around and now we have heavy hitters with heavy and assaults being dropped in on us. This is a cool terrain feature, and I will eventually make my way towards the water because water's good for energy heavy builds. We have a Grasshopper, we have an Orion. I mean, it's going to be an Atlas because of course there'll be have to deal with that for sure. And then we're going to have more assault mechs to deal with on top of what I just mentioned. But we have our elementals providing some assistance and punch. We have the 3rd Bear Guards. Despite being a little bit mauled, they're capable as well. And I'm surprised about the amount of attention these quick draws are getting. I feel like they use a lot of quick draws in the Flash Storm campaign. Not that it's a bad thing, it's just a notice. I don't remember seeing that many before in this Jaguar campaign. So, surprise, surprise, we have a Sokol to deal with. So, you have to make a decision. And this Sokol is a high priority Sokol. Because it has quad autocannons. I believe it's quad autocannon 2s. Which may not sound like much. It might even be 5. I don't remember. I think it might be 5 because it's a Sokol. I know the Igor is quad autocannon 2. Even if it was autocannon 2, it's 4 of them on a really tanky target that has pretty much unlimited ammo. You don't want to leave that thing sticking around if I can find it. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. That's also the danger of it being too high above you. So, yeah, they're quad AC5s. That's definitely not good. It can shoot through the 3rd Bear Guards because they're already hurting. And it can do a number on our armor as well. So this is a priority Sokol. Luckily, no other mechs are spawning in, and we took out the mechs that were here when it was showing up quick enough to focus on this Sokol. But as we can see, before the heat happens, mechs are pouring in. And it's an Atlas, but that Sokol had priority. Now, in the world of assault mechs, the Atlas is always going to get your attention. You're always going to blow it up, and I completely get it. But there's a Zeus, there's also a Mauler. So this is a case of, alright, how we want to tackle this. When it comes to assault mechs, things like Maulers and King Crabs and the Atlas, of course, tend to draw the most attention. And we took out that Atlas. I think somebody got a cockpit kill on that Atlas, which really helps make decisions a lot easier because we don't have to worry about how to divvy up our attention because that Atlas is down. But that doesn't always happen, so what do you want to take out? If the Atlas and the Mauler were together, I think I'd focus on the Mauler because, again, those ultra autocannons on that Mauler would be a bigger threat to me personally than some of the burst damage punch that the Atlas has, although neither of them standing is a good thing, so you want to take both down anyway because we have to. I'm just saying, sometimes if you are worried, maybe your star is a little more haggard than mine is or what have you, you want to kind of figure out how to prioritize what to attack first. I like to look at things that can either hit me with autocannons, either a lot of them or big ones, or in the case of the King Crab, a lot of big ones, or the Annihilator, right? I tend to focus on those over things like a Zeus. Not just because the weight class is different, they're both assaults, but the Zeus is lighter, but because of the autocannon specifically. I just find them to be a nuisance when used against me. So, especially if there's like 2 to 4 of them. So, that's why I'm not too worried about this PPC, not PPP. This PPC Sokol isn't as much of a worry to me as the quad AC5 one was. But it's hardly a pushover. You definitely don't want to just leave it alone. But I can focus on other things and then maneuver in the water to take out the Sokol. Hopefully some of that made some sort of sense as we are just muscling through the enemy here. And we make it. We have succeeded. There's one repair bay to spare. If we needed it, we didn't. We get to walk along these awesome cargo ships and everything else. And Rook survived and his points are standing. So I call that a job well done. We have rescued the 3rd Bear Guards, we have secured Silverdale, and we have denied power generation to the enemy. So, looking up for the Ghost Bears to take the world of Alshane. Always good, because that's the goal, after all. So, job well done for the Silver Root right there. Even if we don't get to scan that piece, because I forgot to. It's okay. And the damage isn't too bad either, so no need to worry about repairs, which is good.
Denka, The bears have reached the outskirts of Silverdale. Should the Sword of Light turn and engage?
Taisa Tokto. What is your assessment? Do we have a chance at winning this fight?
Hi, Kanre Kurita. The Ghost Bears took heavy losses breaking through our ambush in the mountains, and have further split their forces attempting to chase down both the Alshane regulars and the Sword of Light simultaneously. If the Sword of Light was to come to the aid of the 6th Alshane, we could crush one of their detachments before turning to face the other.
But
Victory will not come without heavy losses. We can beat back the bears, but not without sacrificing the Second's combat readiness for when the Smoke Jaguars come for Luthien.
understood. Begin withdrawing the second Sword of Light from the field. A victory here means nothing if the capital falls to the Jaguars. Activate the planetary militia to screen our retreat.
But what of the Alshane regulars?
They will do their duty.
Hi, Denka.
Alrighty, so we saw one of the Kurita family. Denka is just like Imperial Highness, so not the head of family necessarily, but everybody else could be referred to as a Denka, I believe is how that works. And we got to level 15, so we can unlock a direwolf, and we will, because we want one. But that's it, we're going to gear up for the final mission. Now, they bring up the Jaguars attacking Luthien, and that's because that happens after Alshane. So that is definitely the way it works in the timeline. And the lore behind that real quick is that some internal spy from like either Comstar or from the ISF or something would learn earlier than intended of the idea and desire to attack Luthien at that time. And it's not like that the Ghost Bears. It's not like the Smoke Jaguars or the Nova Cats would have attacked prematurely or attacked out of the blue. They would have provided some form of formal warning, because that's what the clans still do, even if there is no patrol. But Draconis Combine learned of it earlier than they would have liked, which is why things go down in Alshane like they do with the second Sword of Light here to a degree. They still, I think, are overestimating their chances against Ghost Bear. Ghost Bear isn't in as dire a situation as they might think. At least I don't think so, based on what I know about their force disposition. Although it would definitely be quite the fight if they were to do what they said. And they kind of, lore-wise, do something like that because they don't actually leave the Alshane regulars to their fate. And we'll learn more about that as we go. Just to put it as a frame of reference. In any case, we have the Direwolf. I'm going to kit it out. We're going to be ready for the final mission coming up soon. So thanks so much for stopping by. Until next time, take care.